Alright y'all, so welcome to the first edition of CrossFit Civil War Skill Training. Tonight we are going to go over strict handstand push-ups as far as a progression, as well as some volume building techniques on how you can actually just get better at bigger sets and just overall strength of this movement. Okay, it's going to be base level to advanced. So first level, level 1, we're going to get used to being on our hands, utilizing our triceps and our shoulders, getting upside down on our head. Okay, so we're actually going to use a very basic frog's headstand or a tripod. Okay, I'm going to go from the front and side angles. So in the beginning, palms should be extremely wide, our fingers spread. Okay, we want as much base as we can on the ground. Okay, our hands should be slightly outside those shoulders. Again, depending on your mobility, each person may be a little bit different, but typically where you will do your shoulder presses is a good starting point. Okay, so hands wide on the ground. We want to create a tripod. Just think of a triangle. Okay, so if my hands are back here, my head will be placed slightly in front of my hands. I should be able to look at my fingertips. Okay, so head will be on the ground. I'm going to walk up into a pike position. I'm going to place the insides of my knees on my triceps. Okay, this is my tripod position. So again, that is my tripod position. I should not have all the force on my head. I should be actually leaning slightly back, a very tight core, right? A hollow position of that core, tucked down from the sternum. Everything should be actually being able to be balanced on my fingers and my palms with just a little bit of pressure on my head. Okay, the way I want to work to get out of that tripod is I'm going to drop those feet directly to the ground and extend through my triceps. All right, let's look at that from the side. Here's my placement. Here's my head. You can see that it's in front of my hands. Tripod position, tight core. Extension of the elbows. That right there will allow you as a base to see if you're strong enough to go to the next progression. If you cannot physically drop and push out through those triceps, then you'll still need to build your base push-up, okay, as well as learning to balance upside down on that tripod. If you can, in fact, extend through those triceps, we're now going to go into step 2, okay, which will be an extended headstand into a falling push-up, okay. We'll be right back with that. All right, so extended headstand into a falling push-up. This now will not only just use triceps, but it will also start to go into our shoulder. It will also let us become familiar with being in an upside down position. So, we get into my basic tripod. Okay, I'm now going to, again, using that tight core, right, tight core position into a headstand. Notice I'm in a hollow position. My core is flexed. My core is flexed. My quads become tight. I'm going to be in a vertical position with a slight tilt back. What we do not want to do is get out of control and crash and burn overhead. Okay? So what I'm going to do next is get into that nice position, vertical position. I'm going to let my feet fall. As my feet fall, I will be pushing into a hollow push-up position. Okay? So what this will do is this will use our tricep, and this will help us explode through those shoulders. So I'm not going to stop talking here for a second. Make sure I can concentrate and get this movement down. Fall, press. Notice, extension of the body, tight core, tight glutes, quads, toes, fall out, arms extended, okay? From there, let's say you can complete that, you feel comfortable. We will now take that exact same movement and we will flip that around to where our feet are against the wall, okay? Notice I fell into a full push-up position. The closer I get to the wall, then the less spacing and momentum I will have for my feet to fall. So I will come right back with the better angle on this camera, and we're going to do some more progressions on the wall. All right, so now we're here against the wall. If I start at a full position of a push-up away from the wall and come slightly in, all right, that will be about where my feet land. You'll notice it's not much different from where we just were, but it will stop me at a higher position. That will transition more weight from my tricep vertical into my shoulder. So we'll get into that tripod. Good base. And fall. Notice I caught the wall at almost a 45 degree. Again, less momentum of the fall, more finishing drive through the shoulder. Okay? The further I continue into the wall, the less momentum I will have, the more it goes to the shoulder, less on the tricep. So with these progressions, what you will do is you will find that position that you cannot press any higher, right? And you can take a few steps back and work the progressions in which you will physically be able to complete a few reps and a few sets, okay? So if I go a little bit closer into that tripod, now I'm almost vertical. The final step would be tripod directly against that wall. Pretty much strict handstand push-up. And through. Obviously a little bit prettier than that. Trying to, for sake of time and coaching, rush through this. All of these, again, are for technique work and for strength building, okay? That is to build your strength. From there, we will now flip back around and talk about some other ways and what the strict handstand push-up should look like on the wall itself. Okay, so we've built some of our shoulder strength up. We've got the basic positioning. What does the strict handstand push-up look like as an RX movement? Okay, so if my head goes to the floor, I'm going to start at extension, upside down. My head will come to the bottom position of my tripod, and I'll push back through extension. Feet stay connected at the top. Feet must be connected again at the top position once we finish. And it looks something like this. Hands kick up. Again, come down to tripod and press back through. Notice my hands came out of my window and I finished through my window, okay? But Tommy, I cannot get that deep from a range of motion. Two things. You can use the progression we just went over, or you can use this secondary progression if you feel more comfortable that I'm about to go over. We're going to start with 3 ab mats. Very minimal range of motion, okay? We're going to kick up. A good rule of thumb for most people, if your hands plant at the end of this mat, your head's tripod will go right into that writing. Again, not set in stone. You may need to move this slightly, but for most people, it's a good placement. So I'm going to kick up into my starting position. I'm going to touch and I'm going to press. Let's say you do 2 to 3 reps of that, okay? That's super easy. A 10-pound plate is about half of an ab mat. So I'm going to take one of these ab mats away. I'm going to put my 10-pound plate. So we're not making a huge change, but we are making a change of height. I'm going to kick back up. Again, let's go 2 to 3 reps. 2 ab mats and a 10. Down to 2. And so on and so forth. So you can see how this works. We then go from 2 ab mats to 1 ab mat and a 10. From 1 ab mat and a 10 to an ab mat. You can go from an ab mat to a 10 to the ground. Okay? Finding your bottom position or your crash position. So if you get to 2 ab mats and you can get down there but you physically cannot push back up, you want to work, okay? Follow me on this. If this is your crash point, you cannot push up from here, then you want to warm up with the 3 ab mats, work your way down to your 2 ab mats and a 10. This is where you do your working sets. This is where you'll build that body, because you know what? In a couple sessions, this is probably going to be possible. And then once you work here, a couple sessions, a couple weeks, a couple months, who knows? This is going to be possible. You'll work your way down, slowly building that shoulder strength. Okay? Be right back with some working volume. Again, depending on how much time you have, okay, on those progressions and that work to get to your handstand push-ups, there's a few things you can do, right? You can work, let's say every minute, on the minute, you can kick upside down and have a set number, whether that's 1 rep or 2 reps or 3 reps at whatever level you're at, okay? You can work that in every minute. So if you did 2 on minute 1, you'd rest for the remaining time. You'd come back minute 2, you'd hit 2. You'd rest, you'd come back minute 3, you'd hit 3. Do that for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, okay? It's really how much time you have and how deep into these progressions you want to get, okay? If you want to do, let's say every 90 seconds or every 2 minutes, you want to work more volume per set. Let's say you've got a little bit more skilled and you're at 1 single ab mat. You could do 5 to 10 every 2 minutes. So if that means you kick up and you're doing 10 reps, right? You hit 5 reps, you kick down off the wall, you shake it out, you wait a couple seconds, you kick back up, you hit 5 reps. However long that took you 45 seconds. You were doing it every 2 minutes. On the 2 minutes, you would have 1 minute and 15 until your next set of 10. So notice I just upped my volume of sets. Instead of just doing 2 reps, I'm now doing 5 reps twice within a 2 minute time frame, okay? So you can really just kind of play with this however you wish. Tommy, I've got my handstand push-ups. I can do a bunch of strict handstand push-ups. I need to work more skill. Well, here you go. You can start working deficits, however far that is. For some people, 45 may be a lot. You can stack 2 45s on top of each other, all right? Still the same exact concept. I kick up, I touch, I drive through. Nothing changes. Still go through the tripod, still keep a tight body, still finish that extension. If that's too easy for your volume building sets, add more height. You can go to parallettes. Parallettes are a 12-inch height. You can go to rings and do ring handstand push-ups. It's all the same concept with a little bit of tweakage with the higher skill. So we'll come back with some parallettes and some ring handstand push-up progressions later on. We'll come back with kipping, handstand push-ups on the wall later on. For tonight, let's finish off with the strict handstand push-up progression.